Good morning, everybody. So I see it's 9, and so we can maybe start soon. I can see a few people are still joining now. So let's maybe take this time to just explain that in this platform, there's now the option to raise your hand. So you can write your questions in the chat, and there's going to be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. And yes, this session will be recorded, so all the recording will be available. And so when you want, we can start. So thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I think I can. Oh yes. I think I have a problem with that. No. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Jesus, and I work as a translation technology lead and translator at the Language Resource Center of the International Secretariat at Amnesty International. And I'm very excited to be here in this forum and to have the opportunity to share with you all, together with my colleague Julian, this presentation in which we'll tell you about the role of language AI or language solutions in our translation work to support the mission of Amnesty International to protect human rights globally. Oh yeah, and I've been told to ask everyone to please keep any questions until the very end of the presentation. So let's get started, and let's start from the very beginning. What do we mean by artificial intelligence or AI? Well, if we look at the dictionary, artificial intelligence is a discipline dating back to the 1950s that studies how we can make computers exhibit or simulate intelligent behavior, particularly how we can make computers do those things that human beings are good at, such as understanding and using language. So we use the expression AI language solutions to refer to the practical applications of AI for understanding and using language, among which terminology management and machine translation stand out and complement each other to assist in delivering accurate, consistent, and fit-for-purpose translations. Let's start with machine translation. At Amnesty, we use machine translation in two different ways, as a standalone application and as an assistive technology. Here in this screenshot, you can see an example of how machine translation is used as an assistive technology when translating in MemoQ, which is our computer-assisted translation tool. We use the machine translation technology of modern MT, to which MemoQ sends the source text one segment at a time. The suggestions of the machine translation output by the machine translation engine appear in the translation results pane here on your right, so that the translator can decide whether to use them or not. Finally, all corrections to the machine translation output made by the translator are sent back to the MT engine when the target segment is confirmed. And the main advantages of using machine translation in such a way is that first, the human translator always has control over the technology. And second, we can fine-tune the machine translation system with our feedback and curated data. And a crucial component of this is our terminology database, AmnestyTerms, which my colleague Julian will present later. The other use of machine translation at Amnesty is as a standalone application, as I said. And here is a screenshot of the online self-service machine translation platform we are currently developing at the RC. As you can see, it already considers gender-inclusive language when translating, because we fine-tuned the machine translation engine with our data. Besides machine translation, over the past few years, we've witnessed huge successes with another type of application, the so-called large language models, or LLMs, which are based on the same technology architecture as machine translation, so-called transformers, if you've heard of them. This happened mostly because there was a lot of text data available and computation power that made possible to train models to capture the structure and the meaning of text and specialize in them for more specific tasks, machine learning tasks, including translation. In this slide, you can see some examples of LLMs, open source on the left and proprietary on the right. And here you can see some practical examples of LLM-driven translation in real-world scenarios, from companies that use LLMs to provide real-time translation for customer support chats, to companies that use LLMs to create multilingual marketing content. However, at Amnesty, we don't use LLMs to provide initial translations yet. We are rather more interested in their potential for quality assurance purposes. And why is that? Well, from our use of MT and the piloting process we've been through, we concluded that while our machine translation system provided satisfactory performance, it still needed further improvement. Additionally, we discovered that we could enhance the work of post editors by automating some tasks considered tedious, less appealing, or mentally straining by post editors. This automation would allow post editors to concentrate on issues arising from context dependencies, such as ambiguities, ellipses, or pronouns, or verb tenses, which are still common in machine translation and require understanding and utilizing the broader context, which is an area in which human translators are unbeatable. Therefore, we began investigating and experimenting on how large language models could assist in quality assurance procedures. And the result of our research with LLMs for quality assurance was ELSA, an algorithm written in Python for post-editing machine translations by prompting an LLM through API calls with specific instructions for each step. And the code outputs a final post-edited translation with the several corrections made by the LLM based on accuracy, terminology, fluency, style, and inclusive language. And a key part of the algorithm involves identifying specific terms related to human rights used in those translations to check whether those terms have been properly translated or not. So to sum up, AI language solutions, such as machine translation and post-editing with LLMs, are crucial components of translation workflows, providing time and cost efficiencies that can be reinvested in other areas of our multilingual work. Second, our translators are unbeatable at understanding and utilizing language. Human translators bring a depth of understanding and cultural nuance that machines cannot replicate yet. They can interpret context, tone, and subtleties in language that are crucial for accurate and meaningful translations. Therefore, we think that replacing their work entirely with the machine is doomed to fail, as machines lack the ability to fully grasp and convey these intricate details in all languages. And finally, a key step to maintaining consistency and accuracy across all translations is ensuring that the translation uses the terms and definitions from our organization approved database, AmnestyTerms, which now my colleague Julian will introduce. Thank you very much. And Julian, over to you.
Thank you, Jesus. Let me see if I can share my presentation now. I think that you can see now my screen. Okay. And well, in a second. Yes, now I have it. Thank you very much, Jesus, for your interesting presentation, which I hope to complement with the same degree of insight. My name is Julián Liaño, translator and terminologist in the Language Resource Center at Amnesty International. And as Jesus said earlier, if you have any questions, please keep them for the end of the presentation or post them in the platform chat. So our moderator, Sophia, will compile them and we will reply them in writing later on. From what my colleague said earlier, we can summarize that machine translation is a technology that automatically translates text from one language to another, and also that accurate translation is crucial in specific sectors like legal, medical, and in our case, in the human rights sphere, to ensure the correct interpretation of terms and the concepts behind them. We can also conclude that general machine translation engines use large databases to translate the text. And with the benefits of implementing them in our work, we find higher translation speed, cost effectiveness, and improved accessibility, making these engines useful for general purposes. However, it can be argued that general machine translation engines often struggle with specialized text, like in our case. This is due to the lack of domain-specific knowledge. In this sense, difficulties arise related with language registers and the accurate translation of specialized terminology, which can lead to errors and misunderstandings. Very broadly speaking, we can say that terminology refers to a set of specialized terms used within a particular field. This means that using accurate terminology is essential for improving translation quality and ensuring consistency across documents and languages. To help implement this, we all use terminology databases. These are databases specialized in specific terms which experts in specific fields of knowledge create and maintain. So we can affirm that human supervision ensures that these term bases are accurate and up-to-date, and this contributes to enhancing the reliability of translations. In Amnesty International, we use a multilingual human rights terminology database called AmnestyTerms, which is managed by the Language Resource Center of the International Secretariat of the organization. AmnestyTerms includes specialized terms and concepts that are crucial for the correct interpretation of human rights terminology found in the documents we translate. With over 21,000 entries in more than 10 languages, AmnestyTerms runs in the Catul QTerm, which is the terminology management system we built on MemoQ. This term base enables concurrent online search and editorial terminology work in different languages. This image is a representation of how our terminology base is structured, with a user-friendly basic front end on the left-hand side. This is available for consultation by all members of the organization, and a back end, the one on the right-hand side, open only to people with the necessary skills and rights to edit terminology. And very importantly, this terminology base also interacts with the translation tool and the machine translation system. Among the benefits of AmnestyTerms, we can get an improved accuracy in translating human rights documents, ensuring that the intended meaning and concepts are preserved, and also crucially, we get consistency also across different languages and documents. This minimizes enormously the risk of misinterpretation. And last but not least, our translations get enhanced reliability and trustworthiness, which is vital for our legal, official, and public documents. The interaction among AmnestyTerms, our CAT tool, and the machine translation system generates a virtuous cycle which helps the Language Resource Center to contribute to the fulfillment of Amnesty International's mission of protecting human rights with a human-driven artificial intelligent language solutions as an integral part to the assistive character of the machine translation. By way of a brief conclusion, we can say that AmnestyTerms plays a significant role in improving translations of human rights-related texts, demonstrating the importance of human-supervised term bases. And as a final remark that can be, I hope, shared with my colleague Jesus, we can say that playing with artificial intelligence applications are an essential tool for human translators, assisting in their work and enabling them to have a real impact in safeguarding human rights worldwide. By leveraging artificial intelligence, translators can process large volumes of text quickly and accurately, ensuring that critical information is communicated effectively across different languages. This technology not only enhances the efficiency and precision of translation, but also empowers human rights organizations to respond swiftly to global issues, advocate for justice, and protect human rights. Thank you for your time and attention, and I hope that by sharing our experience, we have been able to contribute to some understanding of this exciting horizon we are facing, and that you may have found some applicability to your respective sectors and experiences. I leave the floor now to, I will stop sharing this, and I will leave the floor to, if I can manage this well. Yes. To Jesus, or perhaps if he wants to add something to.
It's beautiful, Julian. Thank you, and thank you, everyone. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Okay.
I can see there's a few questions in the chat. So if you want, I can read them to you. Emma asks, I'd be interested to hear how much time, manpower you invest in terminology maintenance.
Right. This is difficult to calculate because there are different sources from different languages and from different people feeding the terminology database, and then it goes through an approvals process. This is a daily task that we do, and it can take us a working stage in which we feed the term base, and then translators may use it straightforwardly. However, it has to go, as I said, later on through a process of validation by researchers or experts that will vet this as a proper translation, or better, a definition. First, it goes to the definition of the concept, because sometimes you find that there are concepts, terms that the concept behind them does not even exist in the language in different languages. And for example, we may be speaking of the term torture in English may have a definition, but in other languages you find that the concept differs and is not defined in the same way. But amnesty has its own definition, what we understand by that. This, as you may understand, takes time. So as a working tool, it can say it's a question of minutes, but then in the long term, it takes a little bit longer, and it involves a lot of people and experts that have to be contacted, not only in the International Secretariat where some people work, but also across the world, because if we have to translate something to, let's say, Kiswahili, we have to find the right person related to the organization and with the knowledge in language and also in the field of human rights to define and to provide a correct translation into Swahili of that term, that concept. So how long does it take actually? As I said, from a few minutes for a quick translation to hours or days for proper validation of the term.
And if I may add, there's also the issue that not all our contributors can work directly with the tool we use to manage the terminology. So in many cases, they don't have the resources to connect and have a stable connection to the system. So they need to work in other in an Excel file, for example, or a spreadsheet or a Word document, and then we need to transfer this information to our database. So all of this might take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm. Correct. You're right. And there's a question by Marisol saying that you share your terminology base with organizations. Yes, but it takes, there's a protocol. I mean, for daily work, we are sharing, the database can only be accessed by the what we call the Amnesty tenancy, which is the environment of all our ecosystem of tools and in Amnesty International. However, if people may be interested in accessing it, they could send us a mail, and then we can study the purpose of the use these will be used for, and we can sort of make a bridge so that some other people access it. But as a policy, we don't, not yet. Maybe in the future, we don't have. We are not sharing it, mainly because this term base includes not only specific human rights terms, but also internal terminology relating to our organizational charts and internal terminology on different departments and policies, etc., that are not for public use. And perhaps in the future we may segment this and have two different databases, terminology databases, one for sharing it for public purposes, and another one to share it to only use for Amnesty person.
Thank you very much, Julian. I see another questions in the chat. Which machine translation system is used by Amnesty International? General machine translation or your own? Do you enhance it with the revised terminology?
I will answer that one. We use the technology, the machine translation system of machine translation provider, which is Modern MT. I will write the modern MT, which is by translated. This is an adaptive neural machine translation system. It's a state-of-the-art machine translation system. By the way, they've just launched a new product which uses the technology of LLMs as well. But we use this state-of-the-art, let's say traditional, if we may say traditional for machine translation, neural machine translation by modern MT. And the base model is a general model, but we have adjusted the general model with our data, a data that we have collected for, I don't know, 20 years maybe now. And we can, moreover, we can keep adjusting the machine translation system while we use it, while we send our corrections through our computer-assisted TAT tool to the system. And furthermore, we can upload to the machine translation system our own translation memories, our own glossaries, and of course, our big terminology database data. So it's a combination of a general MT, a very good one, I must say, by modern MT, and which we fine-tune with our data.
Thank you very much, Jesus, for your answer. I don't see any more questions, but please, if anyone has questions, write in the chat.
If there should be any additional questions or other people are interested in further information on what we have in our presentation, I don't know, I'm not sure if our emails have been shared with participants, maybe, or we could write them in the chat for them to use them. I'll write mine. This is my email. So if anyone is may be interested in further information, or just send me, and I will try to reply. Me or Jesus will try to reply as soon as possible in more detailed fashion. Thank you.
Maybe if we have time, we can, Julian, would you like to share with them some view of the AmnestyTerms website front end?
The back side?
The front side. The front side.
Oh, the one.
Maybe that could be interesting for them to see, because in that view, you can see the amount of work that has been put in there. Not only by the number of terms, but also the extent of the definitions and the depth of understanding that I was mentioning when I was talking about the importance of translators, and the fact that translators are unbeatable because they know, they have all this broad understanding in their minds, especially translators that have been working with us for so many years. We cannot see it. We can see.
Hang on. I'm trying to.
In the meantime, I can see a question in the chat if someone wants to answer. So the participant is asking which languages are covered by your central team and which ones are covered by national organizations.
We are part of the International Secretariat, which is the organism that provides services to all Amnesty International movement worldwide, and including translations. Anyone at Amnesty can request us a translation, and we provide them with these translations. And we are responsible for covering for all languages that the movement needs. However, each national organization, each section in, for example, let's say Sri Lanka or Ukraine, for example, they have their own independent structure, and then they can also be responsible for any sort of translation. But we provide them with the service to ensure that those translations will always be consistent and accurate and compliant with Amnesty International style guides and purposes.
I think I am sharing now the the AmnestyTerms interface, the open one for the front end, open for Amnesty stuff. You can see here, someone was asking about the number of languages. I think there are, to be honest, I'm not sure now, but more than 20 something, I think. And you can see there's from Urdu, Vietnamese, there's quite a wide range of them, trying to cover as many languages worldwide. I mean, not only European or Western countries, but also from Asian and Africa countries. Let's see.
Can you search the term human rights?
Human rights, yes, sure. Into, I have to say that most languages are not always. There's not a balance at the time, because it's difficult to work on that. There's not always a balance between the number of terms in English, which is to say the source, the main source language in Amnesty, a balance between English and the rest of languages: French, Spanish, German, Chinese. Let's try Chinese. This one. As you can see, it provides you some more options, but we want this one. Right, and this is the term properly in Arabic, and a definition which mirrors the definition in English, and you can navigate then on different terms. As you can see, the explanation here is shorter, possibly because the terminologies in Arabic is limiting themselves to a smaller definition, but you can see there's other variants or other related terms here. Take you to, you see, as I said about the balance among languages, this term is not has not been updated in Arabic, but we still can work with the definition to understand what general international law means and then you can try to find the term. The people, anyone working in a translation, finding a translation from English into Arabic, finding this term, and when they see there's no correspondent entry in Arabic for this term and definition, they can contact the central team, myself, and then we can discuss and coordinate it with the expert in Arabic law, and then we can update the term. This is going back to the one of the earlier questions in the chat. This takes time, and it could take, as I said, from a few days to weeks. But when a term and a definition goes into AmnestyTerms, you can be sure that the translation and definition are accurate and will be used across languages.
Thanks, Julian. I see that there are a couple of questions there on the chat.
Oh.
If I may answer the first one, which asks us about the type of documents we translate and the audience hears.
I'll stop sharing this.
Yes, thank you. About types of documents, we have a huge diversity of documents, which can range from an email from our General Secretary General written to the whole movement, or simply a brief communication from the CFO to their team, or a huge report such as our annual report on the situation of human rights worldwide, which is published every year and which we'll be starting very, very soon to work with. And also campaigns, the youth campaigns, for example, youth rights campaigns, which are directed to youth audiences, but also to everyone interested in these areas. Or we can also translate a very boring financial report, which only a few people in the financial department will see, and which is very interesting for them. So that's about it. And about the last question, well, if people don't have infrastructure to build a robust system like a terminology management system, I would simply go with an Excel spreadsheet and use that spreadsheet to put some terms and the definition of the terms and the languages these terms can be translated to, and share it with the freelance translators so they can fill in that spreadsheet when they are translating. That would be the most simple and easy way. Yes, Julian?
Yes, I would like to add to this that it is the best way to start. But please remember to make sure of a good structure in the layout of these spreadsheets, because if at a later stage you may use a specific terminology tool, this could be imported into the tool, and it will be very important to have a correct structure in how you organize your terminology, your different fields of information, so that it could be imported properly into the tool you will be using. Thank you, Pian.
Thank you very much, Julian and Jesus, for your answers and for your interesting presentations. We have just a couple of more minutes left, so if anyone has one last question, we can take that.
Thank you.
Well, this is the fight, isn't it? Well, other competitors as well, and I wouldn't underestimate others that have been hidden behind the curtains, like IBM, for example, or Google Translate. Google's always surprises us, but Modern MT, it's a huge competitor in the machine translation market that goes beyond simple machine translation. They've been always at the forefront of any technology advancement in terms of language technologies. So, but yeah, I prefer Modern MT. What should I say? We actually, when we did the tender process for deciding which provider we used, we were looking at DeepL, but it unfortunately didn't satisfy our requirements. So we went for Modern MT.
One element we also took into account, just to a brief comment, was confidentiality. As you may understand, in Amnesty International, this is a key factor in our work for the very nature of the organization. So we had to make sure that what was the best offer in this sense. So if you are trying to decide which one to use or which path to take, consider this element as well as an important issue, because there are lots of this could lead to a different debate on confidentiality of the data you are sharing with these companies, and this is very important to bear in mind. That's all.
Thank you very much, Jesus and Julian, for your presentations, and thank you everyone for participating in this session. And yes, hope you enjoyed the sessions and enjoy the rest of the TAF forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much,
Sophia, and
everyone.
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.